Mindful of how you move. Power is such a it's such a deceptive thing, right? Because in theory, we should have power in groups. Like there's power in solidarity, the ability to like shift and influence things and like will the world to our being. That is what power is. Um, and when you don't have any power and you're popping off at the mouth, you have to realize that you might not be able to survive those consequences. What am I saying? Going back to my original thought, you got to know when to hold and when to fold. You have to know what battle and what fight is yours and what battle and what fight is not yours. Don't put your mouth, your time, and your attention on battles and fights that don't have anything to do with you. I feel like I get on the internet. People are always enraged. It's something going on, something, little fires everywhere. I'm sure that's a book title. What does that have to do with you? That's how I remind myself of like, you know what? I got to know when to hold and when to fold. I have to know how to stay focused on my task and my assignment. And I feel like in this world now, with the implementation of social media and just like clickbait and rage bait, they're really taking us off of our square. And that's the point. The point is to keep you so frustrated and exhausted and so busy that you're not doing your actual assignment. Me, my assignment is using words to help and heal, whether that's through the books that I write, whether that's through the workshops and the keynotes that I lead, whether that's through me journaling, whether that's through me talking to folks. That was my gift. God gave me the gift of gab and of yapping. So if I find myself wrapped up in an agenda that's not helping and healing, I am off task. I'm off task. I'm off task. And that's what they want. I don't even know who they is, but that is who the people, the group of folks that don't want you to be rested enough. They don't want you to be strategic enough to actually build one, a life for you individually, and then build a great life for everyone collectively. So I was thinking, I put on Facebook earlier today, I'm like, the outcomes of the group are only, as effective or impactful as the inputs of the individual. You got to get yourself together first. I have to get me together. I have to get myself mentally, emotionally, physically together. That's what's so important. And you have to be about your own work. Social media, clickbait, rage bait, all of that, they're going to get you all in a tizzy. And it's probably to keep you unfocused. Ending in what I got to say, you got to know when to hold and when to fold. Every fight is not yours. And if you're not careful, people will have an agenda for you and you're the line item and you don't have no idea. You're like, wait, what? Wait, I've been working on all this stuff. I've been focused on all this stuff. This actually has nothing to do with me. Yeah. If you're not careful and if you're not focused enough, you will be doing somebody else's work for them. Or you'll be so exhausted and chaotic, you can't focus on the work that you're supposed to be doing. And that is where I feel like, honestly, in this season, I am at. So I go back to my mom saying, you got to know when to hold and when to fold. You got to know when you stand for something. What will you actually like live and die for? And then when do you know I don't have the manpower? I don't have the structure. I don't have the income level. I don't have the social network to go against this machine. There's so many individual folks trying to go against this machine. It's a machine. You're one person. You have to know when it's time to take a step back and rally up the troops. You have to figure out what is the agenda? Why am I actually doing what I'm doing? I'm telling so many of us are walking around here and you ask us like, why are you doing that? Why do you work there? Why do you say that? Why do you live here? Why is that your hobby? Why do you dress like that? So many of us are in these boxes that we've been programmed to be into and we've never had the luxury and the privilege to just stop and ask ourselves, why? Why am I fighting so hard? Why am I going so hard for these things? They don't even really matter. Like, this is not even important to me. Real life story. This is me sharing with you all that If I hadn't taken the time to stop and think, I'd be doing work that I didn't love, and I'd never have paused to take the time to actually do what God has me on this earth to do, which is using words to help and heal, because words have power, which is why at the end of the day, I had to take my eyes off of trying to be this like collective savior, right? That is what is put on so many of our backs, especially as women. We feel like, oh, I gotta save everybody. Oh, I gotta do this. I gotta do that. Nah. One of the things that showed me was when I lost my job. When I lost my job at the top of the year, the folks that was like, nah, nah, they were not, they couldn't get me in roles. I'ma just leave it there. So don't let people hype you up to get out on that branch, because I promise you, you get out on that branch and that's not your agenda, you looking around, you out there by yourself. This is the era and this is the season that we take a step back and we assess everything. Everything around us, the work that we do, the people that are around us, the environment that we're in. Oh, thanks. Thanks, dear. This is the time that we really step back and think, why am I doing what I'm doing? And if I get out there and I'm loud and proud about this initiative or this societal ill, do I even have the support? Do I believe in what I'm doing? And if I lose my job, I hate to get very granular with y'all, but this is the truth. If I lose my job, who's going to feed me? Who's going to house me and who's going to clothe me? Because I saw a lot of people that were loud and proud and they was like, woo, woo, go girl, do this, say this. And then when women lost their jobs, crickets. Some people are still not working today. So anyway, now I'm off on a whole nother rant. You got to know when to hold. You got to know when to fold. Right now, one person against a machine in the system, fold. Fold it. Pack it up. Not pack it up to quit, but pack it up to strategize and think and learn. Like, you just might not have the resources and the tools built for this fight. Not yet. This is when you take a step back and say, why am I fighting? Who am I fighting? This is when you take a step back and say, you know what? I have to get very granular and I have to start focusing on me. I have to start getting rest. I have to start exercising. I have to start dating people that make sense to me. I have to start pivoting into a career path that earns a livable wage so that I can have residual income to actually work and invest in myself, my family, and other missions and businesses that I believe in. Because here's the thing, when I was unemployed and broke, I was just running my mouth. I couldn't do anything. Not really, because I was surviving. So this is the piece when I say, when we're talking about you got to know when to hold and you got to know when to fold. Like sometimes, baby, you got to fold. And then there are those moments that you hold. You stand up for what you believe in. I don't think it's accidental. I think it was very strategic that African American women, I think I read something, it was like 600,000 African American women have left the workforce. No, not left. Mm-mm. Systematically, something happened to remove us. You can't feed the community. And then when it's time for the community to feed you, you're starving. Uh-uh. That's not how that works. And this is something clearly, it chokes me up a little bit because how many people have died being martyrs? One person against the system, not having the support, not having the resources. Do not ground yourself up in little bitty pieces to save the collective. Mm-mm, mm-mm. The collective is only as strong as the individual. So I'm a back because I'm getting emotional and I got to go to work. Make sure in 2026, because if y'all know me, you know I'm leading story times. I am really pushing it. I wrote a new children's book. It's about a frog that leaps to a new lily pad. So it is about taking risks, not always playing it safe. I believe in that. Make sure in 2026 that you get you together, whatever that looks like. If you need to go in that office and be quiet, put your head down and do your work and stack your money, do that. Don't put your mouth on everything. Matter of fact, be quiet. Be quiet all year. Get the rest that you need so that you can get the understanding and you can strategize and plan and see who supports you. Do a social network audit. When I lost my job, there were folks that sent me job applications, job links, people that sent me money. And I thank God for them because I would not have survived if it wasn't for my parents that were like, hey, girl, you can come home. You can stay here. You can save some money. Some of y'all out here loud and proud don't have nowhere to go if you get laid off. Don't have anybody in your group that could lend you $1,000. If you ask for $1,000 today, there's nobody around you that can help you. There's nobody around you that at least say you can get a plate to eat and a couch. If you have nobody around you that says you can stay on my couch, you can get a plate, because I know y'all on this live, y'all are that person in people's lives. Yeah, in 2026, do an audit because you're in the wrong group. The community gives and it takes. It's a fair exchange. We're all going to be high sometimes. We're all going to be low sometimes. But the reason that we're in community, the reason that we're in groups is that there's a push-pull. When I'm up and I'm an individual and I'm taken care of, I can push out. When I'm down and there's someone else that's up, they can pull me up. It's a push-pull so that we're all above water. This year, take care of you. When we talk about 2026, get yourself together. Take a step back. Come on, I started my audit this year. A lot of people ain't coming. Hey, a lot of people ain't coming with me into the new year. Hey, it is what it is. Hey, and you're not coming into the new year with some other people. Like it is what it is. This human experience that we have, it's a blessing. But at the end of the day, we are not owed every season in everybody's life. And the saddest part is it'd be the people close to you that like, yeah, I think your time is up. Like, I think your time is up. And then for some of the folks, it's like, we're in a rough season, but I love you. So we making it, but we're going to have a conversation in order to make it into further seasons, right? So at the end of the day, I tell you, I leave you with this. Like my parents say, my mom says, you got to know when to hold and when to fold. You have to know what fights are yours. Do not be a line item on somebody else's agenda. Take some time in 2026 to step back and actually figure out what is your agenda, what matters to you, and what do you need? What resources, what network, what spiritual base? Are you tapping into God? What do you need to get the things done for you to be the individual that's holistic, that can contribute collectively to meet the needs and support the group? And then at the same time, like my daddy say, you see a good fight, get in one. There's something that's near and dear to everybody's heart. There's a time to be bold, and there's a time to fold. But know in your soul that you're fighting for the real thing. And I'll just end with this. If you're not surrounded by people that you can't get a couch and a plate, you are not in the right space. If you are not a person that when your friends and your family are doing poorly, they can't get a couch and a plate, you're not doing what you're supposed to do from a humanistic perspective. It's going to take all of us to get to this next era, but we're going to have to get ourselves together individually. So I got to go to work because I need an income. That's where I am right now. So thank y'all for listening to my rant this morning. I pray that you all are blessed. I pray that whatever that area is in 2026 that you need to plant your feet and take the leap, I pray that you do that. I pray that also, if you're interested, I pray that you dream big. Look, as somebody that dreams small, I wrote this book to our babies talking about dream big. That's important. It's a children's book, but it's for all of us. When we were little, nothing could limit what we did. So I'm asking for you to rest in 2026 so that you have the capacity to dream big. Okay. I'll talk to y'all later. I'm going to work. Have a good rest of your day. Get you some rest. Let's leap confidently into 2026.